Okay, let's set the scene. Picture this. Just profound quiet over Martha's Vineyard. But it's not like an empty quiet, you know?
Yeah.
It's heavy. We're talking deep into the overnight hours, March 22nd, pushing into the 23rd, and everything outside, the normal hum of the world, it's just gone silent in this really complete, kind of terrifying way. Our focus today is on this one voice trying to cut through it all. Her name's Mallory. She's at WVVX 680 AM Vineyard Sound Radio. So for this deep dive, we're drawing on something pretty unique excerpts from The Dead Air Between Us, specifically episode 5, The Dead Air Between Us. And our goal, our mission, if you like, is to really get inside Mallory's experience. This is during the H plus 20 to H plus 30 hours. That's what, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern time, right as all the usual ways of communicating are just failing. We want to explore what actually happens when the signals just die out and how this, seemingly ordinary local radio station suddenly becomes this absolutely vital lifeline. What does that feel like when the air itself feels like it's holding its breath?
Yeah, and what's really striking in the source material is the sheer isolation. It just keeps piling up. The Massachusetts EOC, that's their State Emergency Operations Center. It's been dark for, over 4 hours.
Wow.
And their last message, just a partial string of numbers, then nothing. The bunker at Westover, silent. Even ARES Net Region 2, the amateur radio folks, mostly quiet. And this is critical. All the transmission relays east of Sandwich, the ones that get signals out to the islands, they're just gone. Completely offline.
So the island is cut off.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah.
We even hear about her struggling to pick up this really broken signal, W3FHL, an amateur operator over in Shellmark. The source describes it as like someone whispering through a wall. It's not just, technical glitches. It's like the world is physically closing in on her.
And it's chilling because these aren't just abstract failures, are they? The source mentions Mally scanning the bands, and she's not finding official traffic or other operators, really. She's finding, what does it call them? Remnants, voices of just ordinary people. What does the source tell us about that human side breaking through?
Right, and that's where you see Mallory's whole understanding of radio just completely flip. It's fascinating. She apparently used to think about radio in terms of, the usual stuff. Reach, audience size, ratings, market penetration, all that.
The business side.
Exactly. But now, in this chaos, with signals failing all around her, her perspective totally shifts. These remnants she hears, they're described as being like smoke signals. They rise up, they fade, they don't repeat. There are no call signs, no proper procedures. It's just raw, desperate human needs spilling onto the airwaves. You get these little fragments like 19.4, South Road, east of the lighthouse. They're coughing. Please come. Yeah. They're just static.
Oh, man.
Or another one. If you hear me, we're on the roof. We saw lights. And even just a heartbreaking, forgive us. Mallory realizes in that moment that radio tonight isn't about broadcasting to the masses. It's about one. That's the word she uses. One voice. One pair of ears. She says one person who might be fumbling with a dial in the dark, thinking they're already gone, but they hear this voice and they know they're not.
Wow. So it's a total redefinition of her job, her purpose, right there in the middle of it all. Does the source give us a sense of how she handles that? That sudden, intense weight of responsibility, trying to be that one voice for potentially just one person.
It does. It shows her actively trying to bridge that gap. She starts mentally picturing people who might be listening. She even hopes the bell that's the ferry, maybe it's anchored somewhere offshore, running dark, just listening in. And she starts broadcasting practical advice directly to them, whoever they might be. Things like broadcast on short bursts, Morse preferred, trying to conserve power, be efficient. She even says, if you're injured or can't transmit, just keep the receiver on. I'll relay what I can. It shows this immediate pivot from just pushing information out to actively trying to, connect on the most basic human level.
Right, just trying to keep that link alive, however faint. And then as she's focused on this really fundamental mission, something else happens, something critical, right? She picks up another signal.
Yeah, a really weak one. It might have been relayed possibly through Iceland, the source suggests.
Yeah.
And it's from someone identifying as 9 Leda Charlie.
Okay.
And his message is stark. It's a warning. He says, Western nets crumbling. Do not respond to EAS reactivation. That's the emergency alert system.
Don't respond, why?
Exactly. He repeats, do not acknowledge any official signal that doesn't use phrase cobalt handshake. Repeat, cobalt handshake.
Cobalt handshake? What is that? What's the significance there in this completely falling apart situation?
This is absolutely crucial. It points directly to the danger of, false flags. Deception. Entities pretending to be civil defense, as the source puts it, using the trust people have in official channels as a weapon against them. In a situation where genuine signals are vanishing, being able to tell friend from foe, a real alert from a trap. That ability to recognize a true cobalt handshake, it becomes a matter of life and death.
So it's about trust being weaponized in that information vacuum.
Precisely. It highlights just how dangerous that silence can be. And May feels it too. She describes the silence not just as an absence of sound, but as having weight, like the island itself is holding its breath. It's not empty. It's tense, heavy with fear and the unknown. And there's this interesting connection back to her grandfather. He built the station, built it tough, with old-school vacuum tubes, its own backup fuel. He was prepared.
Like prepper level prepared?
Maybe more like duty level prepared. May finds an old civil defense PSA he recorded decades ago, his voice on it, and she has this realization. It wasn't paranoia, it was duty. He'd anticipated something exactly like this. He built the station to endure.
And that sense of duty, that resilience, it gets tested immediately for her, doesn't it? There's an incident right outside the station.
Yeah, there's this loud bang outside. Sounds like maybe a transformer blowing or, I don't know, something hitting the fence. It clearly alarms her.
You'd think she'd run out and check.
Right. But she doesn't. Not right away. Instead, her first instinct is to get back on the air, to warn anyone listening nearby within town limits. She tells them, don't go out, don't play hero, stay alive. That's heroic enough right now. Protect yourself first.
Wow. Prioritizing the listener's safety over her own immediate curiosity or fear.
Exactly. And just moments later, she picks up another one of those fragments.
Yeah.
Just gut-wrenching. A child's voice through the static saying, Mommy won't wake up.
Oh, God. How does she even respond to that?
It's brutal. The source says she just takes a breath, switches channels probably to her main broadcast frequency, and she just repeats her core message, the one constant she can offer.
And what is that message? What does it really represent for her and for anyone listening?
The message is simple, but it carries so much weight in that context. This is WVX, 680 AM, Vineyard Sound Radio. You are not alone. That's it. And it just encapsulates everything she's doing now. Her whole purpose. She commits to keep going, promising hourly updates, relaying weather data if she gets it. She even says, say your names if you send them. We remember you, even now. This is about more than just information. It's about presence, remembrance. It's this profound act of witnessing, of being a constant, steady voice when everything else has gone silent. She's trying to be that tiny point of light for anyone lost in the dark, fumbling with a radio dial.
So, thinking about this whole experience of Mallory's, what does it tell us? You know, beyond the specifics of this crisis scenario, it feels like more than just a story about radio. Mallory's whole journey, it seems like a really powerful look at that fundamental human need for connection, especially when all the normal systems just break down. It sort of teaches us, doesn't it, that the real value of any communication platform, whether it's, I don't know, social media today or an emergency broadcast back then, it's not really about how many people it reaches. It's about its ability to create these real trusted connections right when you need them most. Her big shift, right? Going from thinking about ratings and reach to realizing it's about one voice, one pair of ears, one person, thinking they're already gone. That really captures it. It's this commitment she makes to just staying on the longest, keeping that echo chain alive, as the source puts it. Her dedication, giving those updates, promising to say your names, it just hammers home how powerful simple presence and remembrance can be. That core message, you are not alone, she really lives it.
Absolutely. And in our world, which is just saturated with signals, constant information, nonstop noise, Meredith's story really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to be a real beacon of connection? Not necessarily the loudest voice, but the most consistent, the most authentic. And that cobalt handshake idea, more relevant than ever, you could argue. It's a stark reminder about needing pre-agreed, rock-solid signals of trust, especially now.
Yeah, with deep fakes, misinformation, it's harder than ever to know what's real.
Exactly. So how do we, as people consuming information, but also as people communicating ourselves, how do we establish our own cobalt handshakes? Ways to verify truth, build real trust. And maybe the final thought to leave people with is, what role can each of us play? How can we be that steady, maybe quiet, but comforting voice for others, especially when things feel uncertain, when the air, so to speak, feels heavy with silence?